Hello. In early spring we got our seed potatoes and we put them on the windowsill. We started to chit them, and we're hopeful that when we planted them, if we planted them in pots like these, that in 4 months time we would have early potatoes. And if you did that like I did that, you will have had early potatoes. And you'll also have had the compost that came out of the pots and empty pots. And it was at that time that I advised that if you wanted to get a second crop from that pot using the same compost in that same growing year, that you should sow some leek seeds and sow some celery seeds. Did you do that? Well, if you did that, then 2 months ago, when you harvested your early potatoes, those leeks that you started and that celery that you started would have been ready to pot up. Now, I shot a video then 2 months ago, and I'm going to move to that now, let you see that now. Then come back to me and I'll show you what we're going to do with these leeks and this celery now to make sure that in respect of the leeks we get some nice long white blanched shanks, and in respect of the celery we get some nice white stalks of celery. Okay, I'll catch you when you come back. Hello. Have you started lifting your early potatoes yet? You have? You remember that game plan? Hey, come out of there. You remember that game plan we talked about earlier on in the year? About what we're going to do with all this compost and the empty pots? Can you remember? Right, well, let's get on with it. We'll just get a shot of those. All of those. Just let me bring this into shot. Okay, if you can remember the game plan, you know what these are, you know what these are. Have you got it? Celery called Victoria, and leeks called Musselburgh. We started these off indoors from seed at the beginning of the growing year, and these have been ticking away very nicely until now. Now it's their turn to be potted up. So we've got the celery, we've got the leeks, we've got the compost, and we've got the pots that this compost came out of and has grown early potatoes in already. So it'll be a wee bit depleted of nutrients, so we best add something to this compost, a bit of spark, and then we'll pot some of these guys up. This is a fertiliser called Grow More. And we're at Homegrown Veg, we don't do quantities, we do enough. And that looks enough to me. What about you? Excuse me, Molly. This is a fertiliser called Blood, Fish and Bone. That'll look enough. A bit more. Now both these fertilisers are a balanced fertiliser. What does that mean? Well, the three numbers are just about the same, aren't they? So it's balanced. It hasn't got too much of one thing in and it hasn't got too much of another thing in. It's balanced. Right, we'll mix this now. Excuse me again, Mo. Oi, come out. It must be good compost. This Molly likes to get her head in it, and if there's anything she fancies, she has it. Excuse me. Okay, so we're in the beginning of our summer months here at Homegrown Veg, and the celery and the leeks are going to grow through the rest of the summer, the remains of the summer, into autumn and into winter, and that's when we'll harvest those. So we're going to get two crops in the same pot, in the same compost, in the same year. Done it before, going to do it again. I'll just pop this one out the way. Molly, leave some for me. Hey, come out of here. Right. What do you want to do first, leeks or celery? We'll do celery. So I'm going to plant 4 celery in a pot. Okay, now would you believe it, these guys have actually been growing 6 months. Celery is slow, believe me, it's slow. But once it gets potted up, it'll take off. Okay. Well, 3 there. Take this one on the end. 4 celery. Put them there. And hopefully, see that. Right. So, what we're going to do is, we're going to use these pop bottle windbreaks. Okay. So we're going to put 4 celery in there. So what we'll do is, to get them evenly spaced, we'll just use 4 pebbles. We'll just put 1 in each, and then hopefully when we plant these guys they'll be exactly where we want them to be. What do you reckon? You can see those pebbles. I don't know if you can. You'll see them when I take this windbreak off. How's that? Right. Let's not hang about. Let's plant some celery. That goes there. One. There we go. Two. Now, because I've done this before, I know what to expect. You've seen any of my previous videos, you've seen me harvesting this stuff. This pot, when I harvest these celery in autumn and winter, will be absolutely chock-a-block with roots. There'll be no more room for any roots in that pot. These guys are a fairly big plant once they get going. Right. And before we do anything else, we'll water those guys in. You know what they are, don't you? Well, I'm not, if you don't know, I'm not telling you. Yeah, I will. The rocket sticks. Okay, and they're going to hold these pop bottle windbreaks in place. Hey, look at that, not a single leaf trapped. How good was that? And how long did it take? 2 ticks. Okay, and hey, let me tell you, we have had some wind lately. I mean, we've had some wind and rain. It's been unbelievable. I'm just lucky to get out today. And this compost was from early potatoes, but I've had it in this barrow in the garage for nearly a week to dry it out. It was soaking wet. That's how celery done. Okay, let's see if we can tease some leeks out of this container. And now, I think what I'm going to do, I'm having a winter onion disaster at the moment. They're all going to seed and I'm pulling them out as fast as I can. I'm actually eating them. I've actually made some onion soup, would you believe, and it was beautiful. But anyway, that's another story. But where those onions are coming out, I've actually started to put some of these leeks in. On a one-to-one basis. Where there's an onion bean, there's now a leek. So we're hoping not to waste the space, so to speak. Right, now we just want 4 of these guys. So, and then the rest, I'm actually going to pot them up, but not on this video because I just don't have the time. Hold on. Right, let's see if we can get 4 out of this. One, 2. That one looks like a casualty. We've lost the roots. It was a casualty. 3, 4. Okay. I'll pop these back in here. What I will do is I'll fill this pot again with compost and put some water on this and keep these guys going. Okay, they're the 4 leeks that are going in. Well, that looks a decent leek. We'll see. That one might go in. It might make the cut, as they say. Right. Now, if you've seen me harvest leeks from pots, you'll know that the pot, the root ball, actually, well, there's no space left in the pot. The root ball takes the lot. Right, so this is what we're going to do. If I dibber a hole in this pot now and plant that leek, those roots will be down there somewhere, right? And that's the amount of pot those roots have got to grow. They won't grow in this. They won't grow up, they grow down. So if I put it in that deep, I've just about half the amount of soil in this pot for these roots to benefit from. So we're not going to plant it that deep, we're going to plant it that deep, just and so. Now, the problem with that, hold on, we'll have to do this again. The problem with that is that the leek wants to fall over because there's hardly any of the leek in the pot. That's where these guys come in handy. They're a windbreak, that's the first function. But the second function is to support these leeks until they get a decent bit of root down there. Okay. Right, so what did we say? We'll do this one first. Pop those leeks, those roots in there. Now you might even be able to see the base of this leek. You can see it's right at the top. Okay, that's as far as that guy's going in there. He's not going in there any further. This guy's the same look. just so in the pot. Now what that means is most of the leek, in fact all of the leek, will grow outside the pot. The only thing that will be in the pot is the roots. The problem with that is, if you like your leeks white, if you want to blanch them up, then the soil won't do it, will it? Because they're hardly in the soil. You need to do that yourself. So what I tend to do is, inside those pop bottles, I'll insert, hey, look at this guy. Inside those pop bottles, I'll insert a liner, a dark liner, to exclude the light. But I won't do that until these guys have got a hold and they're away. Okay, look, just so in. Right, let's give these guys a drink ball. Okay, I'll say this. If you haven't got any leeks, right, putting seeds in now, it's too late. It's not going to go for you. Seeds are too late, you've missed the boat. But there are leek plants available at garden centres. Okay. And there are leek plants available from people who have allotments, because by and large they sow a lot more than they need. And if you're gardening at home and you fancy doing this, you need to pop down to your local allotments and sweetheart somebody, don't you? Tell them you fancy growing a few leeks but you've got none, can they help you out? And gardeners generally would rather give stuff away than throw it away. Okay, 2 rocket sticks. Now that didn't take long, did it? Let's put the other one up next to it. How's that looking? 4 celery, Victoria, 4 leeks, Musselburgh. I'm all. I've got nothing for you, sweetheart. I haven't. We'll have a look when we go inside. We'll see if we can find you something nice indoors, shall we? Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, so with Molly looking at me with them big brown eyes, all disappointed. Okay, thanks for sticking with it. Right, what we need to do now, because these leeks are sown very close to the top of this pot, there is very little of the shank below soil level. So what's above soil level will be green, and what's below soil level will be white, because the light's excluded. So there won't be much white. If we don't do anything with these leeks, the shank will be green, because it's exposed to light. So we need to take the light away from the shank. What I've got here is some pieces of felt, just black felt. Okay, nothing special about that. What I'm going to do, I'm going to exclude the light from the leeks using this felt. We'll simply fold it like so, and then we're going to slip that over the leek and inside the pop bottle. So now the pop bottle, having been a windbreak, having been a support for the leek, it's now going to support this felt and exclude the light from the leek. We simply pull the leaves up vertically, okay, and then we feed this over like this. Checking that we haven't got any trapped, and then hopefully it'll just drop in like that. How's that? Couldn't be easier, could it? I'm going to do all 4, but not on camera. I'll just do one more. Okay. And then I'll show you what we're going to do with the celery. How's that? Now, because the celery is a bit more difficult, it's much more leafy, we would struggle to get these inside the pop bottles. So what we'll do is we'll simply push these around the outside. How's that? The light's totally excluded now from the celery and from the leeks. There's enough foliage above that for these plants to still flourish, but there'll be significant whiteness at the base of the plants hopefully when we harvest them at the back end of autumn, beginning of winter. And as we're at the beginning of autumn now, just about, then we're talking about, what are we talking, 2 months away, 3 months away, and we'll be harvesting these guys. So I hope you took my advice earlier in the year. I hope you've got some of these guys in. If you have, let me know how they're getting on, and we'll see you around about harvest time. Okay, so this is Homegrown Veg signing out. Come on, Bob.